Cost cutting. It's done by manufacturers to price their bikes on par with their rivals and to keep it competitive in every aspect possible. But sometimes these cost-cutting measures are taken way too far by these manufacturers, which results in the sales figures of these bikes to be affected in a negative way. That's exactly the case with Yamaha's MT-15. But if you look at this bike in a subjective way, it's still a pretty epic bike, right? Trust me on that. The question arises after looking at its price tag though, that is it still worth buying over its much more powerful 200cc rivals and the Duke 125? Hey guys, what's up? I'm Sriniket. You're watching my YouTube channel Sri Productions, and in today's video, let's find out. Before starting the review, special thanks to Xceed Yamaha for providing me the BS6 Yamaha MT-15 for a detailed review. Contact details for bookings and test rides of the entire Yamaha range are in the description down below. Design of the MT has been heavily inspired from its much larger sibling, the MT-09. Hence, it gets short and chubby proportions for every element like the tank, tail section and the now iconic robo-shaped front fascia. Apart from the new Ice Fluo Vermilion shade which we all have been waiting for, the BS6 updates also include a new tail light with a frozen treatment and a radial rear tire. Length of the top portion, that is from the instrumentation till the tail section, is as short as my math teacher's temper. Fit and finish and the overall build quality is superb with a very informative instrument cluster. But the switchgear could have been better designed, as the absence of a dedicated pass cloud switch and interchanged horn and indicator switches will surely irritate you at first. Let's take a quick look at the specs. Engine on the MT is a 155cc single with liquid cooling, fuel injection and a SRC setup. After the BS6 update, the MT has lost 0.8 PS and 0.8 Nm of torque. So now it produces 18.5 PS of peak power and 13.9 Nm of peak torque, mated to a 6-speed gearbox and most importantly a slipper clutch. It's housed in what Yamaha likes to call it a delta box frame with a wheelbase of 1355mm, which is really short, ground clearance of 170mm and seat height of 810mm. In the suspension department, it has conventional right side of 41mm forks up front and a multi-link monoshock at the rear. It gets a simple box section swing arm at the rear, which is a bummer. Braking duties are carried out by a 282mm disc up front and a 220mm disc at the rear, and just like the negation of a cast aluminum swing arm, it also misses out on dual channel ABS. Tire sizes are 100/80 up front and 140/70 at the rear, mounted on 17-inch alloys. Alright, done with the specs, let's check out the exhaust note of the bike before taking it out for a ride. Well, believe me, the MT is one of the best entry-level bike as a package in India. Why? Let's talk about it one by one. First, about the engine. It simply is a gem of an engine. It just revs as a top till the red line with no vibrations, no protest whatsoever. The bottom end is super tractable for city usage. The power throughout the mid-range is adequately peppy, and once you cross the 7.5 to 8K mark, the VVA kicks in, the intake note becomes a lot more grunty and there's a noticeable surge in power. In all, the power delivery is very linear, very tractable below the 7.5K mark, above which it has the top end of an NS200. Well, sort of. The gearbox is precise and effortless. The clutch has the right amount of heft and slipper clutch means it's very friendly for the beginners out there. Great in the engine department then. About the handling, the super rigid perimeter / delta box frame, the stiff suspension setup and the short wheelbase, and more importantly the lightweight of just 138 kg weight means it simply feels as enthusiastic as a Bollywood actress high on, let's say, some stuff. It just dives into corners with little effort, provides a ton of confidence and feedback while being adequately stable at high speeds on the highways. The brakes too offer superb stopping power, feel as well as feedback in panic braking situations. Great in terms of the dynamics then. About practicality, it can easily potter around city in 6th gear doing as low as 35 with no knocking from the engine, which for a motor of this capacity is really impressive. That, along with a comfortable cruising speed of 100, will result in a fuel economy as good as 45. Very practical then. Or is it? In terms of the practicality, the MT does lag behind as it does get a pillion seat which can be called as non-existent. The suspension, although is great for occasional spirited riding, is really stiff for our Indian road conditions, and the foot pegs are too rear set for daily commuting. And then, as I was talking about earlier, the drastic cost-cutting measures like the negation of the cast aluminum swing arm and dual-channel ABS, that despite costing not much lower than its fully fed sibling the V3, can result in a lot of potential buyer migration. But keeping this aspect aside, look at this bike as it is, and you'll realize it truly is worth it. About the competition, the Duke 125 just can't compete with the MT. The NS offers pretty much the same thrills for a lot less money, but does not come even close to the MT's build quality, and it has a superior engine to that of the Apache. You might think I'm being biased here, but take a test ride and you'll get what I'm talking about. For nearly a decade, we all wanted a R15 to satisfy our commuting, corner craving and touring needs, but without dealing with body aches which the R15 gave even after a short ride. The MT then is that bike. Yamaha has finally delivered and we should appreciate them for that. So is it worth buying for what it has been priced at? Absolutely. So that's pretty much it from my side. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right away for plenty more videos coming your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.